and welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up in today's episode, I've got an away game live com against Accrington. But before we get into that, let's have a little recap of the previous month so you can see how we're getting on. The last time you were with me, it was for the 3-1 away win against Lincoln, local rivals. Fantastic result, and that sparked off a really good run of form that lasted certainly a chunk of this month. We followed it up with a 3-0 home win to Halifax. A little worryingly, Colby Bishop, who'd been our star man up until this point, picked up an injury in that match. But Isaac Buckley really starting to establish himself as a threat in his own right. Got 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, and we were comfortable winners against Halifax. In the next match, with Bishop injured, I paired Matt Godden up front with Buckley, so I moved Buckley out to the target man position, put Matt Godden up front as the poacher, and if you remember, when I signed him, I sort of tentatively said potential Dale Southwell replacement as an out-and-out poacher. He's come into the side, scored 2 goals. Yes, it was only a 2-2 draw, but really encouraging to see Godden come straight into the side, pick up a couple of goals, and that's form he's continued into this month as well. I've decided to start loaning out a couple of players. I did mention this in the last episode. So Junior Moraes is the first to go. He's gone out on loan for a month to Solihull Moors, who are in the Conference North. And Kane Felix was already out on loan at Hayes and Yedding to try and get his fitness up because he picked up a knock earlier in the season. I just don't see where this lad is going to fit into the team as and when he comes back. So Hayes have asked to extend his loan for 3 more months. They're paying 100% of his wages, and we can recall him if we need him. So, as far as I'm concerned, let's leave him there. He's getting games, he's creating goals again, so he's getting back into form. And if we do have an injury crisis, we can always bring him back in and slot him straight back into the side. But he's better off there at 21 years old than he is sitting on our bench. So happy for him to stay at Hayes and Yedding for a little while longer. We then went away to Altrincham. Matt Godden continuing his goal-scoring form with another couple of goals. We got Isaac Asenso sent off in this match, which is, I don't know, discipline-wise, it's a bit of a problem. He's a very, very talented young defender, but does seem a little bit erratic with his form and also with the fact he's got himself sent off there. So he's not playing as much as I thought he would, and the combination of that and Jimmy Dunn coming into the side and doing so well, there's still time for Asenso, but it was a little disappointing to see him get sent off in a game where I was giving him a chance to start the match alongside Dunn. The form started to tail off a little bit as we got towards the middle of the month. We were at home to Macclesfield, lost 2-1. We were 1-0 down. Godden pulled one back to make it 1-1, and then we conceded another goal just after half-time. We never really looked like getting back into it throughout the whole second half, so that one was a little bit of a shame. Macclesfield were a good side though, and we had a good run of results leading up to that. We then went away to York in the Cup. We had to drop quite a few of our players for this match because of restrictions not letting us play them in Cup games. So Alex Gott came back in and goal. Jack Hartley wasn't allowed to play either, and Bishop wasn't allowed to take up his place on the bench. And we also had Tempest was suspended for this match. So a bit of a makeshift side. We looked okay, played reasonably well, but didn't really look like creating anything. And the Buckley-Godden partnership is certainly starting to slow down now as we get into the month. This was really upsetting. Dale Southwell has finally found himself a club. Harrogate in the Conference North. Not even in the playoff positions in the Conference North. So a team not as good as we are. He still doesn't want to come to us though. I asked him. No, not interested in entering contract discussions. I don't believe Boston United's squad is strong enough to play at a level matching my ambitions. Clearly, his ambitions are he wants to be a mid-table Conference North player. We tried to have a little chat with him, convince him to come. No, not interested in joining Boston. Oh, go on, please. No, definitely not interested. So, he's dead to me now. Next match after that, we were at home to Gateshead, and it was just really disappointing. We went 1-0 down after 2 minutes. Just never really looked like getting back into it. Godden picked up an injury. We just didn't play very well at all. and Godden's now out for 4 to 5 weeks. Luckily, Bishop is coming back into fitness, but it's a shame. Just as Godden was starting to establish himself as a viable replacement for Southwell, he goes and picks up a knock, which is a bit of a shame, but that takes us to the end of the month. We're still doing pretty well. The board is still happy. We're still in a good league position. They're still not happy about Matty Robson, and I am actively looking to get him off the books now because he's just not really particularly effective for us. Although I might play him today, which you'll see why in a second. And Dale Southwell did sign for Harrogate in the end, so I'll keep tracks on him, see how he's getting on. But that's how we are at the end of October. We're 16th in the league, 18 games played, 23 points. I would have absolutely taken that at the start of the season. Very, very happy with that. So, going into today's game, we are away to Accrington, and Accrington are Jack Hartley's parent club, which means he's not allowed to play, which is why I'm bringing Matty Robson in onto the left wing. It was basically a choice between him and Will Summerfield. I could have brought Kane Felix back, but for one game it seemed a little bit excessive, because Hartley would just come straight back in the next game. So this is the side that we're going for. Albinson in goal. A familiar looking central defensive partnership from last season. We're going for Pierre Jarny and Garner. Jimmy Dunn is injured. Isaac Asenso still erratic, and Lionel Stone really struggling for fitness and form at this level, which is odd because if I had to pick one of the 3 centre-backs we had last season who was going to make the step up, it would have been Stone, but he's just really struggling. So we're going with Pierre Jarny and Garner, Cotton and Barber as the full-backs, and then a very familiar midfield for the most part, apart from Hartley, of Tempest and Dixon in the middle, Meckie out on one wing, Robson out on the other wing, and then up front we've got Colby Bishop as the target man and Isaac Buckley as our poacher. So let's get into the match and see how we get on. If it actually lets me get into the match. Alright, let's apply some advice. The only advice we ever get is, tightly mark everybody. I'll agree with you, assistant manager Dele Adebola. We have been on a bad run of results just these last 2 or 3 games, so it would be nice to turn that around today. Although Accrington are a good side, and we are missing a key man in Jack Hartley, because obviously he's not allowed to play. He did sign a contract extension with them earlier in the month as well, so he's long term. I think they signed him for a 2-year contract extension. So any hope we've got of 1-0 down. We'll pretend that didn't happen and I'll carry on talking. Any hope we've got of keeping Jack Hartley around long term is fairly, it was pretty much killed off by that. We're in the same league as Accrington now, and he's one of our better players, so I imagine they've extended his contract with a view to him slotting into their team next season when he's done with us. So that's a problem that we're going to need to fix, although hopefully Kane Felix will be ready to just slot straight back into the side at that point after a season of getting experience back in the Conference North again, or Conference South, whichever one it is. Conference South, I think, Hayes, isn't it? But we've got the ball here with Dixon, who finds Meckie to Bishop, back to Dixon, Tempest, Buckley is through, and that was a good save, I think. Oh no, it was a goal kick. It was a bad miss then. It was a clear-cut chance, and Isaac Buckley really should have done better with that. But it's our highlight again. Tempest to Dixon. And Meckie is in a lot of space here, and that's another good save, or it is a good save. That's our second clear-cut chance. And again, a good chance from the corner. So we need to be a little bit more clinical here. We've had 2 clear-cut chances. We're still 1-0 down. We can't really afford to be missing our clear-cut chances. Yeah, I know one of them was a good save, but Buckley's was a problem, and that's an even bigger problem. I think that guy Hazeldine is the top scorer in the Conference National this season as well. I've seen his name around about the place, and he's just absolutely lost his marker there. You can tell we're playing a Conference North centre-back partnership today. And when you're playing weak defenders for this level against the best striker at this level, it's only going to end up one way. They've not had a clear-cut chance yet, but they've picked up 2 goals. And we're just the opposite. It shows the difference in quality we've got between the 2 sides. We need to find a way back into this game. We're doing okay for possession. We are creating chances, but we're obviously missing them. We don't really have much in the way of attacking options on the bench. We've got Wootton, who came in, played a game, got injured, and hasn't really shown me anything in that bit of a game that he played. But he's a natural poacher, so he'd perhaps be an option to come on at some point in the second half. And then we've got Will Summerfield, who could come in and play in one of the wide positions. But other than that, we are a little bit limited for options. Dixon and Tempest are comfortably our best central midfield partnership, so I'm quite reluctant to break them up. And we don't really have much in the way of another attacking option, so we just need to kind of carry on as we're going. I hope this isn't the start of a long run of poor form. It has been a bit iffy for the last 2 or 3 weeks now, after a really promising start to the month. And we need to find a win and just get back into some form somehow. Scott Garner run down the right wing. He's playing at centre-back today. That was bizarre. And he's found his way back to cover as well at the back, so can't fault him for effort. He's just not quite got the ability at this level. But he is still the captain, so it's good to see he's doing his best to drive the team on. Perjani looks like he's picked up a bit of a knock now. What's happened to him? He's got a bruised rib. He's signalling that he wants to come off. Let's take him off then. We've got Isaac Asenso on the bench. It's not exactly the big attacking substitution I'd have been looking to make, but we can't afford to have them get in behind an injured player and make it 3-0, because then there really is no coming back. We'll give it a few minutes and then we're going to bring Wootton on, probably for Colby Bishop, who since he's come back from his injury just hasn't looked the same. He's not recaptured that early form yet, so we'll bring Wootton on and move Buckley over to the target man, I think. So he can come on for him, and then we'll swap them over. And we'll see if that gives us anything more going forward. And then the only other substitution we've got really is to bring on Summerfield, probably for Matty Robson in the next 5 or 10 minutes, just to see if he offers us anything a little bit different on that left wing. In fact, Robson's exhausted now, so let's not wait any longer. Let's bring Summerfield on. Robson's just been a disappointing signing all round. Whether I'm playing him at left back or left wing, he just doesn't seem to be offering anything to the side. Summerfield probably doesn't have the time now to come on and try and change the game. And this is all sort of petering out a little bit. We've not created anything since those early chances. We're doing okay for possession, but Accrington are just happy to let us have the ball, I think, and safe in the knowledge that we're not threatening at all going forward. There's no highlights at all. This is disappointing. This is the sign of... this is a bit worrying. This has been the most worrying of the poor results we've had so far, because we just haven't looked like threatening at all. We might need a little bit of a rethink if this goes on much longer. Perhaps start to experiment with some of those other tactics again that we used earlier in the season. Although we did end up coming back to the 4-4-2 because it just seemed to work better. But if it's not working now, it might be time for a tactical rethink before the next episode. Let me know what you do in the comments. I would be interested to know how you think the season is going, what you think I should do next to try and push on. What should our target be? Should we be happy to consolidate where we are? Or is there any chance of us pushing on for a playoff place? There's not. Are we likely to get sucked into the relegation battle? We might. But let me know what you think in the comments. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the future episodes. Thanks very much for watching.